The case didn't weaken. It didn't crack slowly. It collapsed. All at once. Like something invisible had been holding it together. And suddenly let go. No warning. No signal. Just one moment. And everything stopped making sense. If this kind of story pulls you in, stay till the end. Because what broke this case wasn't loud. It was almost ignored. At the beginning, everything looked perfect. Clean timeline. Clear motive. Confident witnesses. Even the smallest details seemed to support the same direction. Nothing stood out. Nothing resisted. That kind of perfection felt convincing. Almost too convincing. The accused stood still. Watching. Listening. Not reacting. That silence felt strange. But not important. Not yet. The courtroom focused on the story being built. Piece by piece. Layer by layer. Everything aligned. The first witness spoke with certainty. Every answer came quickly. No hesitation. No confusion. Every detail matched the evidence already presented. It felt solid. Unshakable. The second witness followed. Different angle. Same outcome. Same confidence. Same clarity. The story grew stronger. More complete. Harder to question. The courtroom leaned into that certainty. People nodded quietly. The pattern felt reliable. But patterns can hide things, especially when no one challenges them. The evidence came next. Carefully presented. Organized. Everything labeled. Everything explained. Each piece supporting the same timeline. The same sequence. Nothing out of place. Nothing suspicious. That was the problem. Because real events leave imperfections. This one didn't. The defense stayed quiet. Watching. Observing. Not interrupting. Not objecting. Just waiting. That patience felt intentional. Like they were letting something build. Something that needed to finish forming before it could break. The third witness stepped forward. Calm. Measured. Their story matched everything before it. Same timeline. Same key moment. Same detail repeated again. That detail didn't seem important. Not at first. But it kept appearing. Quietly. Consistently. The courtroom accepted it without question. Because it fit. Because everything fit. The judge listened carefully. No signs of doubt. No interruptions. The process felt smooth. Almost complete. Then something shifted. Subtle. Barely noticeable. The defense stood. Slowly. Deliberately. The room reacted instantly. Because silence breaking always means something. But there was no dramatic challenge. No accusation. Just a question. Simple. Direct. About that repeated detail. The witness answered immediately. Confident. Certain. The answer matched everything said before. Nothing changed. Nothing slipped. The defense nodded. Then asked again. Same question. Slightly different angle. The witness answered again. Still confident. Still certain. But something felt off. Not obvious. Not clear. Just a slight shift. Like a rhythm missing a beat. The courtroom didn't react. But the air changed. Quietly. The defense returned to their seat. No argument. No follow-up. Nothing dramatic. And yet, something had started. The prosecution continued. Trying to maintain control. Trying to keep the structure intact. But that small moment lingered. Unresolved. Unanswered in a different way. Another witness stepped forward. Calm. Prepared. Their story followed the same pattern. Same structure. Same timeline. And again, that detail appeared. Same position. same importance. Now confirmed again. Stronger. More believable. Or so it seemed. The defense stood again. This time slower. More deliberate. They asked the same question. About the same moment. The witness answered. Confident at first. Then slower. Less natural. The defense paused. Then walked toward the evidence. Not the main pieces. Not the obvious ones. Something smaller. Something overlooked. It had been there the entire time. Unnoticed. Unquestioned. The defense pointed at it. Then looked back at the witness. The room followed. Eyes shifting. Focus changing. For the first time, that detail was examined. Closely. Carefully. And something didn't match. Not clearly at first, but enough to feel wrong. The timing didn't align. The sequence felt off. The position didn't make sense. The prosecution stepped in quickly. They explained, adjusted, reframed, but the detail didn't move. It stayed exactly where it was. And now it looked different, because now people were actually seeing it. The judge leaned forward, focused, careful, looking between the evidence and the timeline and the witnesses. Something wasn't holding anymore. The defense stepped back, calm, silent again, letting the realization grow. Because once doubt begins, it spreads. The courtroom felt it. That shift, that quiet discomfort, the kind that comes when something familiar starts to feel wrong. The prosecution tried to recover. They moved to the next point, tried to rebuild momentum, but it didn't land the same way. Because now, people were paying attention differently. The next piece of evidence was presented. Strong, clear, convincing. But now it connected to that detail, and that detail was unstable, which made everything connected to it unstable too. The structure began to weaken, not visibly, not dramatically, but enough. The defense stood again. One more question. Same detail, different angle. The answer came slower this time, less certain, less controlled. And that was enough, because consistency had been the foundation. And now, it was breaking. The judge reviewed everything again, not from the beginning, from that moment, that small detail, that overlooked point, and slowly, the problem became undeniable. That moment, the one repeated by every witness, could not have happened the way they described. It wasn't a matter of doubt. It was a matter of impossibility. The timing didn't work. The positioning didn't align. The sequence collapsed. And if that moment was wrong, everything built around it was wrong too. The courtroom went silent, heavy, still, because everyone realized it at the same time. The case hadn't been attacked. It hadn't been dismantled piece by piece. It had been allowed to stand, until it collapsed under its own weight. The prosecution tried again, reframing, redirecting, but it was too late, because once certainty breaks, it doesn't return the same way. The accused remained still, but now that stillness felt different, not passive, certain, like someone who had been waiting for that one moment. The moment everything would turn. The judge looked again, slower now, more careful, finding more gaps, more inconsistencies, things that didn't matter before, now impossible to ignore, because once one flaw appears, others follow. The case didn't fall apart loudly, no dramatic outburst, no sudden confession, just quiet realization. Spreading, deepening, until nothing held together anymore. Every witness had relied on that detail. every piece of evidence connected to it, and now it was gone, not removed, not hidden, just proven wrong. And without it, the story had no structure, no foundation, no certainty. The courtroom sat in silence, not confusion, understanding, because the truth had been there the entire time, not hidden, not buried, just ignored, until someone looked closely enough. And when they did, the case didn't weaken, it didn't crack, it fell apart, without warning.